Hello and welcome back to the channel. This is added on to the stanza video I did. I just thought I would split them up so it's not one long video. So this is a car everybody will probably recognise or may not recognise. It's classed as like a Rover 200 Tomcat, but they're known as the Tomcat. A lot of people associate they did make these with like a turbo engine in, but even like these ones, the 1.6s and other ones that they did are still known as the Rover Tomcat. Basically it's sort of on the floor plan of a Rover 200, but there's a lot of changes to it, like the doors are different in the back end, but that's the basic platform of these. So this is quite a late one. It's on an R-Reg 98. Again, a little bit of a stickler for these. I love these number plates with the two numbers on. Just good to say they're free of charge and they come with a car. Just makes the plate look good, you know. And there we go. It's got the original plates on. Again, I used to be a one for messing around with plates. Leave the standard plates on. If you want to keep a bit of originality to the car, and they're the proper original plates, leave them on. As again, I love this little thing on the bonnet here. Again, this, everybody thinks it was only the turbo ones that had them. It wasn't. It was just all the regular. I'll get into the engines later. You'll see there's a bit of lacquer peel on them, common with these cars. It's going in to get the bonnet resprayed. But at the end of the day, it's a 1998 car. So, you know, you don't worry too much about things like that. I apologise for the sun a bit. It's just on this one angle. We'll just have a quick walk around. What's the colour, Chris? Nightfire red. I must admit, I do agree with Chris. I've had a few Rovers and MGs myself. Rover do a nice paint job, and the colours are always great. I'm just going to quickly move around to this angle because the sun, there we go, the sun is getting right into the camera. But again, from the back angle with that Targa top on, it just looks fantastic, I think. I'll show you that in detail later as well, but we'll go. I'm just trying to avoid the sun. So again, the alloys, do you know what they're called or not, Chris?
They're turbo alloys.
Turbo alloys.
The ones that went,
so, you know, the ones that were on the turbos, yeah. But it's a nice upgrade to do, and it's all period correct. And you know, when you look along these sills here, it's a bit dirty, as been valeted, but you know, no rust. You know, colour-coded mud flaps, just little touches like that, what Rover used to do perfectly. You know, no rust on the front wings. Great. Back in the day where everybody was ramming into these with screwdrivers, Rover decided to just use the same door handle, but just put the blanking plate in. I do remember those. One less door somebody could break into. I'll keep to the exterior and then I'll move around to the interior. I love the back end of these. Is that back bumper original?
Yep.
Yeah?
Oh, yeah.
That looks great, that.
That lower splitter.
I love that lower splitter, that really does great. And I'm not going to go all hub nut here, but I really do like to see a rear wiper on what really is in my, like a coupe, but it's a saloon car. It's a little pet hate of mine. You get these top end sort of, you know, 60, 70 grand saloon cars and you don't get a wiper on the back. I know they might not look good, but I don't see the point. I think the old rule was when you get up to speed, the water blows off, but I've had enough saloon cars to know it doesn't. So again, Rovers were quite renowned for doing that. I love that little touch. Spoiler. And again, I don't know if somebody's done this or it's how it left the factory, but it's debadged. And I like it. I like the back of these being debadged. I don't know, it may or may not have.
They never came with
the
badges on.
I just like that.
I don't think anyway.
It's just a Rover, and they've left it up to you to decide what it is, and I love that.
Badge. Never had a Tomcat badge.
I love that. Again, just even looking through the back window, they didn't have to go to that effort of, you know, just looking. How many cars just looking onto a parcel shelf actually is nice to look at, and that with the speakers, they've made something of it. And again, saved space on the inside. So I'll just open the boot up. That's a big size boot, that, for what our class is like a small size car, you know. You see all the boot and everything, it's all got all panelled. So, you know, for rusting and stuff on the bottom edges, yeah, I know it could still rust underneath, which you can see it isn't. It's immaculate. But little things like that, for me, all cars, no matter how well you look after them, will go on these edges. And they've just covered it and then gone to the effort of actually painting it. You know, little things. Again, they're the little touches I like to see. Stainless steel screws. Even to this day, manufacturers have not been able to grasp that one. So the rotor bits. So Rover, and a few Rovers I've done recently, actually, it is original, that. Stainless steel. So they never rust, and when you need to change number plate lights, no problem. Because it looks a little job, but if they rust out and you've got to start smashing things, it's a ridiculous way to be going on. So, yeah, we'll go into the boot. Just lift that a bit, have to bear with us. There we go, look at that. All the original bits in there, the jack and everything, original wheel. Again, I think That's the original build codes on here. So you know if these have been in a smash because they always are missing, you know. So it's fantastic. We'll just move it around to the... Again, like I said, it's just been a surprise visit today. So as you'll see on a lot of my videos, all the cars I review are genuinely in working condition. Child seats, dirt, everything, because I just, as and when I can, I do them. I don't get paid, no one pays me. I just take the opportunity to do a quick review as and when I've got the car available. I think we'll leave the interior till the second bit and we'll go under the bonnet, because I already hear the comments starting now about, here we go, what's under the bonnet. Oh, it's the terrible K series. Everybody goes on. Go on, fill the comment section about the head gasket stories. We all know about that. But let's be honest here. I know they did make these ones, generally, the early ones come with an option of the Honda engine with the manual. But what it was is, at a particular time, if you wanted an automatic one of these, you got the Honda engine. And if you wanted the manual, you got the... This would be the 16, but they did an 18 and an 18 turbo, didn't they, with this? 2 litre turbo, sorry, I'm getting mixed up with the K series out there, like the 75 and that. But they did do the fire-breathing turbo versions of these, which I think will probably be silly money, I would imagine, if you're going to immaculate one. So, again, this is part of my channel here. We don't do, and right, unless I get the opportunity, I try to keep just the everyday cars. I do some quite rare cars and stuff, but I'll be honest, I have limited access to stuff like that. But again, 1600 K series engine. They did a 1400, they did an 1800. Did they do a 2 litre? Did a 2 litre as well, yeah. And everybody, the same old joke is about the head gaskets. But let's face it, if any of you are mechanics out there, if you're going to do a head gasket on any engine, you want one of these. You know that's so easy to do. So, you know, but again, once that's done, if they're done correctly, if you use the updated head gaskets, replace all the head bolts properly and do it right and get the head skimmed. Once you do it once, you'll probably, if you look after the car, never do it again. I'm going to have a look down here, but I think these are too early. There was a little, I think on a lot of the newer versions of these, there used to be a little water pipe come out the inlet manifold. And inside of that, I don't know if something's been done here or not, but there definitely was. I remember back when I used to strip these when I was just starting out as an apprentice, there was a little water pipe which used to return back to the header tank, or it went to the radiator, one of the two. And actually I think it might be that down there, that one. And what there was inside of it, there was a little ball bearing. And that little ball bearing used to cause so much havoc for circulation and caused them to overheat. And there was a modification you could do where you just simply removed the ball bearing from the little housing and put it back together. And a lot of the Rover fans and everything swear by it. I don't know if this car's too early for that, but it was something to do with either that, or I do remember there used to be a pipe coming out of here, somewhere around it anyways. But again, for everybody who criticises these engines, I used to have an MG-ZR with about, I think it had almost 200,000 mile on, and it never had a head gasket, and I serviced that car from new. And again, it's all to do with just keeping an eye on the overheating, flushing it, using the right coolant, and if there is the modification to do that. But, you know, once you do them, if you get don't just go to your normal car shop and just ask for a head gasket for a K series. Do your research, go on all the groups, and there's these companies that do all these, like, multi-layer and special. What you want is, if you're going to do it right and get the multi-layer head gasket. And once it's done, you'll never have a problem. But again, to the positives of this engine, think back to things like the Caterhams, full-on racing cars, Lotus. These engines were fitted to really expensive, high-end race cars. There will be more. These engines were very popular in kit cars and all sorts. So if this engine was that bad, would Lotus have used it? I'm sure there was somebody else used this engine. Was it that? What's that company that make them wooden cars? Morgan. I'm not sure if Morgan at some point in some of their little cars. Maybe I could be wrong. I do know that this engine was used in so many different vehicles. You know, the main reason I got this engine a bad name is when they put them in the Rover 75 and they put them in the Freelanders. They were too big and heavy, and they put strain on the engines, and they were, I must admit, terrible. But the 1600 K series and the 1400, mind, the 1400 had more. I don't know many 1400 engines that had more than, I think they had about 105, 110 brake horsepower. These engines are incredibly good for the power output, and again for emissions as well. Like obviously after Y-Reg, when emissions came into it, these engines were very, very good. They were quite low on the emissions reading compared, like for road tax, compared to what a lot of the similar kind of engines were. So, you know, before everybody pulls apart in about the K series, I think there's a lot to be said about the K series engine. So, you know, I just thought I'll put that point in. But again, we'll look at the main structure of the car. Strut tops, solid. You know, these are the things I look at. Then I look down the bulkhead. See these brake pipes? They're normally always the original ones, bubbling up and everything. And they're great. You know, there's the sub. Crikey, that's the subframe there. See that mark on it, the chalk mark? That's the original factory build. Do you know what it is? There's just not even any rust on that. I'll get this wax oil. By the looks of it, that's another thing. New radiator. If you're going to get the radiators on them as well, see how this one's got they've got the original ones that have tiny little ones on. They have these ones with the bigger bits in, and it helps the flow. And again, just every sort of, I don't know, depending on your mileage and usage, just change for what it costs. So, you know, it's not hundreds of pounds. Just change the coolant every, I don't know, 2-3 years, and while you're doing it, put a good quality flush through the system. You know, so everything again, why I like Rovers, is easy to work on. You know, you've got your brake valve here, fuel filters, they are a bit awkward, but you know, you don't change them all the time, but it's accessible. You know, your brake servo there, it's not rusting. You need to change your wiper motor, you don't need to go taking apart all the scuttle, it's just there. Everything is just a hand. The inner wings, look at that. This is the first time I've looked at this car in detail as I'm recording it, and I'm just beginning to realise, you know, how good it is, you know. Again, servicing wise, whatever went wrong with these, you know, a clip. Why do I have to keep putting the Rover are their own worst enemy for this? Because they changed these, or newer ones, to screws. And you come to do them, Phillips screws, all they sit at this direction, the water gets on them, they round off, then you end up having to cut them and damage the airbox. So, you know, back to the old Rovers where, you know, few clips, air filter, spark plugs, no problem. You know, fuel filter, the oil filter, in fact, you can see, oh, look at that there, can you see that? Genuine. So somebody's gone to town on this car. Who buys a genuine MG Rover oil filter for, you know, a so-called old car? Somebody there straight away. That would be the first thing for me if I turned up to look at this car to buy it and I seen that MG Rover oil filter on there. I would just buy it just based on that. If somebody's going to go to that effort, then, you know it hasn't been skimped on. Multi-branch manifold, you know, that's standard. And they even get these just on the 1.4 basic things. That's a lot of effort and good for performance, you know, and Rover was doing that as standard. You know, back in 1998, they still can't even do that to this day on some cars. So that's under the bonnet. I'll move on to I'll start at this side and work my way through. Again, that roof, that stands out to me. That's something that I must admit I would have that open every single time I went out. Again, let's just look at these. You know, you don't get that in many cars, do you, really? Standard. And that's what sets this apart, is the Tomcat, you know, like, it's, for me, there's a lot of things on the outside which you've seen on the like the sill covers and the spoiler at the back and everything, but these seats are just great, you know, like, you know, with the piped edges and the vented leather. It's lovely, that. Then again, a lot of manufacturers put a lot of effort into the front seats, I've noticed, like in these top-end Audis and that, you know, you've got these big bucket Recaro seats in the front. Then when you look at the back, it's just, you know, like standard. Rover's followed that through. Look at them sculpted rear, I think they're all-in-one. They are all-in-one headrests built into the seats. Lovely big bucket area for the passengers to sink down in. I know you lose a seat in the middle, but come on, for a seat like that, it's worth it. It's a coupe, isn't it? That's perfect. And again, you know, it's just the little things in here, like, you know, like this here, look at that. That's stitched leather. They could have just put some plastic there, but they didn't, you know, they made it nice. And again, that little bit at the back there on the back window, just so on a hot day, the sun isn't beating down on you. I can't remember a car I used to have, it was a Celica, they did the same. Toyota Celica. And just that little bit of extra, you know, the window stops sort of like here, but they've just took it that bit further down. Somebody's gone to the effort in Rover to go, if it's a hot day in the sun and you're a backseat passenger, you're a tall backseat passenger, you're going to be getting sun blasted on your head. They've just thought, oh well, we'll just add a couple of centimetres and make a sunshade. Most companies wouldn't take the time of day to do that. To this day, by the way, there's still brand new cars being made, I can't believe, have such poor design. Again, the driver seat's a bit of wear on it, but, you know, I haven't even looked at the miles. Oh, only got 74,000 miles, that's good. You know, tiny little bits like that, but if you took this seat into somebody who knows what they're doing, they could have that thing looking brand new for very little money and little bit of, not much time either, to be honest. Again, I'll show you from that angle, spot on in the back. Carpets are all, I think Chris said these are being cleaned. Obviously, the car are in a muddy yard here, so again, you know, you have to excuse electric mirrors, electric windows, and on again, I'll, you know, these doors, pillarless doors, great. You know, I purposely bought a Subaru once, stupidly. I got the car cheap just to have the pillarless doors. That is just something that I had to have. But again, this roof, we'll have a look from this angle here. Look at that, you see. Again, some companies, they'll just put these as pure glass and you've got to muck on, you know, and it's unbearable in the summer. They've got it all with that kind of like textured glass. And again, they just pop out like that. And there you go. Great. I'm just looking at something here that I've spied. I don't know what it does or what it is, but I quite like the look of it. What are these?
Oh, they're just like, you know, they
Oh.
should stay up there like that. It's like, you know,
See?
wind deflectors.
Wind deflectors. You know, a lot of people to this day, on like manufacturers, I've had cars with sunroofs and they're unbearable to have open. But you know, Rover's gone to the little bit extra effort of just putting these little wind deflectors in. See? Oh, and you can take the centre bar out as well. I didn't know that because we haven't actually done that yet. See, so obviously I'll put that down. But you know, if the wind becomes an issue, you just pop them up and I believe they must lock into place.
The springs,
little,
they would normally spring.
yeah, I can see there, that's just a little spring, just needs pushed back into the hole. But you know, you get the idea. And then obviously now, if we go to this view, there you go. You've got your full open roof there. And again, Rover, I've gone to the effort. I know it would be probably awkward if you had a full boot full of stuff, but let's face it, this is just a car for a nice summer's day. So keep them in the boot in case it starts to pour with rain.
Got the original bag for them.
Oh, and Chris has got the original bag to put them in. So, you know, again, the boot's big enough to put them in and not impede having to put them on the back seat. So you can still have 4 people in the car, put them in the back in the proper cases, and probably still space for a bit of luggage as well. So I'll just jump in and have a look in the interior. Again, the old, you know, Rover steering wheel, I think that's great. I've always liked these. To be honest, bar putting this bit of leather stitching on, Rover, I've not really had to try very hard with these because I've always liked these steering wheels. Again, yeah, you can't buy a Rover without wood. You've got to have a wood in a Rover. So they've put the little bit in there and I think that's enough. Oh, sorry, and a bit up there. I think that's enough because they were keeping this as the Tomcat model, so you don't want it plastered everywhere because they've gone with the stitched leather, which is even better again. So it's all, you know, in keeping with it. You got your 5-speed manual, and again, these always feel spot on these. I do like the gear change on these cars. And you've got your, you know, your recirculation, your fresh air vents, and your general basic heating controls, heated rear screen, electric mirrors, I think, yes, so that'll mean electric heated mirrors, rear fogs, and just your general Rover switchgear, which I like with these because you've got your one flick down mist function. I like that. Again, with the twist on the end for your normal wipers. Takes a bit of getting used to from a standard car, but I do like that design. I do. It keeps things a lot more simple. And you've got your nice little sun visors there, you see. And I think, you know, again, most of them, they just look the same, you know, like there. It's your kind of fake leather effect, but when you flip them closed, they've used the same material on the back of them as what the headlining is. No, I can't think of many cars that do that. Just, you know, you would think, why do it? But Rover just go to that extra little bit of effort to keep it, you know, fitting with the rest of the car. Nice little centre armrest. Nice place to, you know, just a nice place to be, these cars, the interior. They haven't gone over the top with electronics and stuff, but that's how Rover always were this Sierra. You know, I found enough was enough with them and it just worked. You know, you've got your, you know, your windows marked up. You'll remember that from back in the 90s, every car had that. But yeah, if you like this kind of thing, if you like this kind of like video, just leave a comment below if you want to see more like this. You know, like, subscribe, and thank you very much for watching. Thanks, bye.